Okay, so I just recorded some footage and then my camera got too hot, so I changed positions. But I'm at the park with my kids. It is, you can see one of them. One of them riding his bike, the other one laying down on top of the slide. I don't know if you can see him or not. But anyway, hey, so um, I wanted to do a video real quickly telling my abortion story, and how this all became relevant is because if you don't know, in Texas, they just made it a crime to have an abortion, and so that came up on our television screen on the news. And my 15-year-old, he was like, but mom, you're not supposed to have an abortion anyway. And that's when it became relative for me to talk about. And so I homeschool my kids. That's another reason why I homeschool my kids, because it's a lot of stuff that people are for that I'm not for. This is not a political video. This is my abortion story, and I am pro-life. So you see how many layers it is to this story. But anyway, when he said that, I knew then it was time for me to tell him about my abortion story. I could have just not addressed the situation, but then that wouldn't have been real, and that's not like where I'm going with the education of my kids. I just want to say that there is only one truth, and if you don't fit into that truth, that don't mean you get to change the truth and make it fit for your situation. So abortion is wrong. Although I had an abortion, it's still wrong. So anyway, the first time I had an abortion, I was 16 years old. So my child would have been like 22, 24, something like that. But I don't have a child that old. My oldest child is about to be 15, and then I have a 13-year-old, and then I have a 10-year-old. So although I had an abortion, God still blessed me with 3 children. Although the birth of those children were not easy. I'll talk about that at another time. But I don't remember each abortion that I had, probably because I had so many. I do remember the first one. I do remember one in between, and I do remember the 7th one. Yes, the 7th one. As I was saying, the first one I had, I was 16 years old. Okay. I was 16 years old, the first one that I had. And I remember being at school. I remember being a sophomore. I remember being in class. And I remember being in my cheerleader suit. That's all I remember. And I remember, like, what am I going to do? I do remember that. The 7th one, I remember that because me and the child's father went to the abortion clinic together. And I remember at that time, it don't matter. Even at that time, they was talking about how this abortion service would not always be available. But yeah, I regret it. I regret it. I don't want to cuss in the video, but I regret it for real, for real. But it is my life and it is my story, and I do think that it's wrong. And I think had I not had the first one, I wouldn't have had the other ones that followed. Because then it just became, okay, you get pregnant, that's what you do. And that's not the correct solution for the problem. The problem is the correct sex education, which is what I provide to my kids. And then if it does happen, than you dealing with it. You going through it and not erasing it or trying to erase it. But yeah, I think that it is a good thing that you won't be able to get an abortion in Texas. I really do. And I'm someone who had one, and I still think that you shouldn't. You should not do that. No, LeBron. No, no. This boy is trying to ride his bike down the slide. And had I not turned around in time, and he just fell. Um, but as I was saying, God still blessed me to be able to conceive children, although it was not easy conceiving these children by any means. But that's the good thing about God. God will wipe your slate clean because he loves you that much. No, I can't go back and change it, but I can help other people learn from it. There is no way I would have had that many abortions had I had my first child. Because then my first child, it just would have been like, if it was too hard, I wouldn't have did it again. Or if I would have did it again, I definitely wouldn't have had that many children. I'm positive about that. No, just swing your feet. No, it's the opportunity for you to learn how to swing yourself. Later, I'll probably share my birthing stories, but this is my abortion story. I dealt with a lot of shame for a long time because of the choices that I made. And there's so many reasons why having an abortion is wrong. Like in the Bible, and I don't know what verse, maybe I'll look it up. It says that God knew us before we knew ourselves, or before we was, while we were in our mother's womb. Let me see. Okay, so I just typed in God knew us, and what came up with God knew us before we were born, God knew us in the womb. So I'm going to click on in the womb. No! It's walls out here. And this came up, it said 100 Bible verses about God knew us before we were born. Jeremiah 1 and 5. Before I formed you in your mother's womb. So he said before he formed you in his mother's womb, in your mother's womb. I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as the prophet to nations. So if God, y'all, this boss wants me. And I did forget that I had sprayed some perfect. I already killed one wasp. Like, this is my second time trying to record this video because this is my second time. trying to record this video because my camera had overheated.
Thank you.
But
Did I open it with my teeth?
no, just open with your hand.
Just. I can't do it. Yeah.
The only person who can erase our mistakes is Jesus. We can't erase them. We can't try to bury them and act like they didn't happen. The only person who can erase them is Jesus. And so, if you have had an abortion before, then no one's judging you. You can still be forgiven. But if it's something that you're considering
Thank you.
and you haven't done it yet, then I would suggest that you not do it. Long story short. To make a long story short.
Yeah.
I was recently watching a video and this lady was saying how, you're welcome, she had had so many miscarriages. And then after about her 6th miscarriage, then she finally had a child of her own. And she had adopted kids. And then after that, she ended up having a child of her own. And that story like struck me to the core. I was like, gosh, she had that many miscarriages. I had that many abortions, and then I was still able to have children, which is a miracle all in itself. I'm really just rambling, but here he come again. You don't fuck. I just killed your cousin. But yeah, I was saying that was the whole reason why I felt the need to address the situation right now, because it came up in discussion, which is, like I said, the whole reason that I homeschool my kids anyway is because I want to provide my children with the truth and only the truth. And there's several other situations in life that the world agrees with, but God does not agree with. And I can go on and on and on about those situations. But as for me and my house, if my daughter was to get pregnant or one of my sons were to get someone pregnant, abortion is not an option. It's just not an option. And that alone is enough to thank God for. That I come from a person who had that many abortions to someone who is absolutely pro-life. So I just wanted to share my testimony that I can now share, because I swear that's not something that through the years I wanted to tell someone, but at the same time through the years I was holding all of that shame. So if you are a young lady who gets pregnant and you don't know what to do, you should just go ahead and have your baby, so that you're not responsible for doing something wrong. And then there's several choices that you can make after that baby is born, if you decide that you can't care for the child. I'm about to go play at the park with my kids. I don't know how I'm gonna merge all these videos together. That's what sucks. Like, I may just stop this one and redo it.
At my papa's house.
Huh?
I find these a lot in his yard at my papa's house.
Oh, really? It's some kind of nut. I don't know what kind it is though.
It's poisonous.
Do not go to the park with perfume on, cause all the wasps and stuff is gonna come towards you. So, I'm about to stop this video and try to record it one more time all the way through.